Welcome back to Mike and Mike Show. Thank you for joining us another week. We're going to jump into our show, but before we go in, we're going to introduce the celebrities here. We have our favorite celebrity original member cast, Mr. Justin.
You see that, right?
Yes, sir. AKA King Tox.
Yeah.
A real bad man.
And then we have our favorite celebrity. He's not going to be the favorite. He'll soon be the original prime minister of the garage, right?
Man, some next level stuff.
Prime Minister Khalees.
Mr. Angel.
Bam, bam, bam.
And as usual, you know, Baby Trump, Michael, AJ, and myself is Michael. Welcome back to Mike and Mike Under the Garage. We're delighted for you to join us tonight, and we have some good topics. 1 and 2, we're going to jump into politics we are talking about this week. So without further ado, we're going to jump right into it. How was your week, gentlemen? How was your day so far? How is things going?
Had a good week. I was actually on vacation. I went to go visit my sister out in Colorado. Always have a great time when I'm out there. And then, came back to my new job. Well, still at the post office, but, moved on up in the world. Don't got to wear a dirty uniform no more.
HQ.
Yeah, I'm HQ now. Maybe I put cologne on and shit when I go to work.
You brought a headquarters down.
Moving on up.
Right, 100%.
So that's good.
What we have going on this week? Mike?
So this week we have the requirement now for voting. It's going to be a law where you have to be a natural citizen, no green card, no temporary resident. You have to be a natural citizen here before you can vote.
A natural born citizen.
Natural born or just natural citizen?
Natural citizen.
So naturalized. You can come from another country, become naturalized.
You don't have. If you have a green card, you're out the picture.
Yeah, you got to be a naturalized citizen.
If you're visiting here, you have a visa, you're out the picture.
Kind of like what they do for the general election. Like you have to be a U.S. citizen to vote in the general election.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, that's for the general election as well as for the local state election. So you just right across the board.
I think that's fair.
So, I mean, I don't see an issue with it in the sense. I don't, because you still need, I mean, if you don't have those type of structure in place, everybody going to vote. The guys coming over the borderlines.
Yeah, and then they stack the deck.
And they stack the deck, and including as what Trump was saying, that these guys are bringing these guys across the borderline and giving them paperwork. I mean, at one point, I think it was 2021 or 22, where everyone was getting licensed. This is why they have this this real ID now, because they want to flush out those old IDs, those driver's license where everybody and their grandmother was getting them. So they want to flush those. No, so if you don't have that star, technically, you're going to have, guys are going to still get them because they have connection. People are going to have connection.
Of course. There's always going to be a way around it.
Right. I think it's going to incentivize a lot of individuals to just apply for their citizenship. Instead of just lingering around and holding on to a green card, they'll be able to definitely apply for their citizenship a lot earlier. That way they're able to exercise their right with voting.
Then we have Doge is hitting. I think they already hit education department, dismantle it.
Yup.
So, I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on, and I'm not sure. I mean, the market is tumbling down because of these moves and stuff like that. But, hey, we'll see as time goes by.
Yeah. I think the market tumbling down is a good thing. That means you buy now cheap. It's going to jump back up.
I don't know. I'm skeptical about that.
You also have a lot of investors.
You have to ask the real investor over there.
Yes, Mr. White. What do you think? Don't you think if the market tumbling down, that's a good thing?
I agree with you, Justin. It's just like what you said,
Yeah, you buy
low
cheap
and sell high.
You buy cheap.
Yeah.
Tesla stock is dropping, but once they come out with the new set of cars that can't be vandalized,
actually
it's gonna
rallied
skyrocket.
What do you say the cars?
20%.
What's that?
What?
Tesla stock.
Oh, they already jumped 20%? Look
Went
at that.
up, right?
Yeah.
Why do you think it went up?
The car stopped getting vandalized.
I mean, it's a good company,
it is a good company.
The CEO is, I personally believe that he's the smartest, one of the smartest guys.
He brought them individuals home who was stranded in space.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, the dude
but they
is
conveniently
smart.
forget about that.
He's a smart dude. I'm not giving that up.
Yeah.
You know, when people invest in Tesla, they're not just like investing in the company Tesla. They're investing in Elon's intellectual property.
Yeah.
So they're saying that this guy is a genius, and he might just pull a rabbit out of a hat, you know, with the next thing.
And that makes sense. I think when you invest in anything that's hybrid or electrical, you actually invest in the environment.
Yeah.
Understand? And that's the direction the country's going into.
Yeah.
You know, less pollution and all that. So
Yeah.
might be a great thing.
Yeah, hopefully we'll see how it turns out. So, what you guys think about this? You know, kind of officially kick it off. What you guys think about? Let me start with Justin. What you think about these? The first one, this certification to vote in this country. I mean, how do you see it impacting society?
I think that'll probably level the playing field. I'm like, that should have always been in play. You know, the fact that they actually kind of veered away from that like kind of like defeats the whole purpose of our electoral process. Because I think if you're not from this country, or if you're not a citizen or a naturalized citizen, like my mother's a naturalized citizen. She came here in 1960 from Venezuela. She didn't get naturalized until 1971, 72. So, you know, but she did it the right way. So, you know, she has that right to vote. So if you just have a green card, if you're just here, you know, benefiting necessarily off of the programs,
When
you
you have a
shouldn't
green
have
card,
a right.
you're a permanent resident, right?
Yeah.
Well, no, it depends. You can be permanent. It could be a green card to where maybe just a work visa. It's not necessarily just means you can be a permanent resident, but there's still some sort of status there to where you didn't go the extra mile, you know, to become a naturalized citizen.
But if you have the green card, I mean, it's kind of a permanency you already have. I mean, if you temporarily here, I don't think you would have a green card. You more of like
it's a work visa. Yeah, it's a work visa.
visa.
Yeah, but you see, even with a green card, like that means basically if you got a green card that you didn't pay that extra money, or you didn't take those classes to get naturalized. Like, you know, there's classes that they make them take, like, you know, who's the first president, things like that. So when you have a green card, they don't necessarily, in order to be a citizen,
going for your citizenship,
Right.
Yeah.
But
Whereas a green card, you're not a citizen, you're just a resident. You're basically a resident alien.
What I'm confused about is that, I mean, if you're like, well, again, you kind of answered, because I was about to say, if you're a permanent resident here, why they have limitation on the green card? Yeah, 5 year, 10 year. It should, I mean, if I'm using the word permanent.
Yeah. That's how they label.
Yeah, but it's resident alien. When you have a green card, you're basically a resident alien.
Right, but I think it is. I don't want to diminish or water down what it is, because I feel like having a green card is a very powerful thing. But it's sort of like a driver license thing. Like you have a driver license, it's pretty much permanent, but we still have to.
You still got to renew it every year.
Whether it is to update the
Yeah,
picture,
that actually
update
makes sense.
your
Yeah.
address, you know.
The passport too is the same thing. I just
Right,
have
the
to renew mine.
Correct.
Every 10 years.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But once you're permanent. You're permanent if you have a green card.
Yeah.
No matter how you acquired it, if you went through a system, it's well vetted. You still have every right to stay and live here.
Well,
Yeah.
what I'm hearing now, even personally, friends saying that people are still grabbing guys with documentation. Like a good friend of mine I was talking to him today, and he shared with me that up on Mike will probably know up on 241st.
People don't follow this guy, man. I haven't been stopped by anyone.
Not yet. I haven't either.
I mean, not yet.
Not yet. It may happen. It may not. So I mean, at the end of the day, I don't know. But
Well, what grounds do they have
Fear-mongering.
to
Don't
like
listen
stop
to him.
it?
He's a
Like,
Democrat. That's what they do. Fear-mongering.
what reason
sharing
is there?
what's happening?
Like, I understand that, but what reason is there to stop somebody like at this point? If you have a green card, like,
But they don't know what you have. They don't
Yeah,
know
they
who you are. They
They're
can't
not
assume.
just stopping random people. There's no such thing.
Well, the stop and frisk
This
is
is
out
real
the window.
targeted,
They're
though.
trying to bring it back, but I mean, on a
Say-
whole,
Say again, no, please.
no, I'm saying the stop and frisk. New York has a thing we call stop and frisk.
Yeah,
so
but they got
just
rid of it.
randomly just look at you and they're like, you know what? That
Yeah.
guy looks suspicious. Let me just.
That's profiling, though. That's
Yeah.
illegal.
But they cut that out, so
Yeah.
that's gone. But now they're trying to kind of bring back something like that in conjunction with ICE, because again, some people they just
False news
Yeah,
or
he
fake
said
news,
false
as Donald
news.
Trump would say.
they just
Fake
have an
news.
experience where they pick up some guys at 241st Street.
How haven't they stopped you? All right, they're not gonna stop Justin.
Why?
Justin-
They won't start.
Once they look at Justin, you know he's American.
Exactly. They're not gonna stop me. They think I'm from Israel.
Right,
They think
right.
they think I'm an 8-pack representative. They ain't gonna touch me.
They have
It's not like-
They'll be like, oh, he's a Zionist like us. We'll leave him alone.
Definitely not.
check it out. If you don't believe me, ask Justin.
What?
Mr. Khalid, right? He goes to Belize like what?
3 times.
No, every week.
Yes, every week.
like
Miss-
4
yes.
times for the
Talking
month.
about it a little
Yeah.
bit.
Prime Minister Khalid goes.
Seriously, serious.
Yes.
If there's a holiday tomorrow,
He's gone.
he's going.
He's gonna go back, and then he'll be back by Friday.
So
Surprised they didn't
if
stop
they were
him
going to
yet.
stop anyone, they would stop.
They're
him.
gonna flag him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the fact that they didn't do that, that means they're not.
Yeah,
That's
I know, man.
false.
But
I mean, to be honest, in New York, I think right now who they're stopping, like if you go to Queens, obviously there's a lot of South Americans, Central Americans over there. They're gonna be rounding them up. So basically, they're like us. Like, to be honest with you, if you look at all 4 of us, we look pretty Americanized. We don't look like we're fresh off the boat. Right? We don't look fobbish.
I think they're gonna target certain clusters.
They don't have that
certain
much agents.
demographics. No, the thing is that
they do.
Go to Roosevelt Ave. Go to Roosevelt Ave in
right,
Queens
they-
off the 7 train. They all the ICE is all over there.
Right, I believe they're gonna go to the hot spots.
Exactly.
Like, if you come over here, you'll waste all your resources to catch 2 people.
Exactly. Nah, they can go to certain spots over here. You know what I'm saying? Like he was saying, 241st. Go to 241st and Matilda, you see a bunch of Guyanese flags flying all over the place. They're like, nah, let's go on this block.
Right, this is
We got some action over here.
Yeah, high chances. It's like stocks though. You just go to where they have a greater chance of succeeding. It's all about probability.
Yeah.
But I think most importantly, we just got to keep ourselves clean.
According to my knowledge, this is how the ICE department works. They communicate with like states, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you detain someone that's illegal or
Yeah.
undocumented, they give ICE a call, and ICE comes and pick them up and then deport them.
Oh,
But
okay.
they have ICE.
ICE ain't going around in the street looking
No,
for
no,
people
no,
like.
no,
Nah, it's
Hey,
usually local law enforcement.
Let me see your identification.
No, there's not. I mean, again, these are incidents that happen. It may be random, but they do have ICE that's circling. This is one of the things with the mayor too, where they were saying the mayor was giving Trump administration towards ICE the bed flat. Give them like an open season.
Yeah, like
on New
carte
York.
blanche, yeah.
It's still pending, but that was the intention.
Okay.
And what they do is ICE, along with the local department, going to be moving around. I've seen it myself. I witnessed it myself. ICE van pass around, and when you look, these guys just pull over, and a bunch of them came out. Now, it's not
I
a lot of.
promise you, he's making that up. He's making that up.
This
Fear
guy-
mongering.
I don't know. It sounds a lot valid though. Like if you follow the news of what's going on right now, like they pulled up in New Jersey to like what is it, like a random restaurant or something like that?
Yes,
A
the
spot?
one in Newark.
Yeah.
Right, in Newark.
That's
They know
all
where
ICE.
they're going in. They
Yes.
have information.
Correct.
Right?
So they
Yeah,
are
intel.
active. They are active. They're out.
They're
Yeah,
active.
but not
They're
as
out.
he said it. Like
How?
they just pull you over and hey, let me see identification.
No, they do that. It's not. It's rare, but they do that.
They
Like they
don't
would
have
have
enough
a
agents for
target.
that.
Like most of them, they would have a target, but they do randomly stop people. Look on Fordham Road as an example. Which they pull a few people over there.
Oh,
Right?
yeah.
I mean, Fordham Road is huge. You don't have no. It's not a store they went into. They sweep. It's closed. Why you think Fordham Road is empty now?
You know what? That's
Exactly.
funny that you
I
say
don't
that.
go
I
to
just
Fordham
realized
Road,
that.
so I don't know.
I go to Fordham.
Exactly.
Well, I take the bus from Fordham every day.
Even downtown, I don't know, Manhattan.
Even in
Where
Manhattan.
you would normally or regularly see a lot of immigrants.
I'm busy doing observation.
So that means 28th Street, the bootleg market must be like a ghost town right
what
now.
You got to do, right?
it is like a ghost town right now.
28th Street is a ghost town right now.
2 weeks ago.
Oh yeah. 28th Street.
yeah.
Manhattan.
That's what. Yeah, that's the the bootleg district.
Justin over here.
Yeah.
Or like from 125th up to like 128.
Oh, that's Chinatown though.
Nah, 125th. That's
Canal
Harlem.
Street.
Yeah.
You're not really. Unless you go to like the east side of Harlem over there on the First Avenue, because that's mostly like a lot of Mexicans.
Oh, you're talking about You're talking.
I'm talking about 28th Street downtown. Yeah.
Okay. I
The
got you.
over there, the bootleg district.
yeah.
I call it the bootleg district. That's where you
It
get
is.
all the
It
bootleg
is.
stuff
I
at.
thought
you
that
know?
was
It's run by
Canal
Africans
Street,
and
though.
Chinese. No, Canal is run by the
Canal-
Chinese. But you
Yeah.
got to remember, you know what's funny? You notice how the Chinese never get messed with, right? Because they are highly insulated. And trust me, there's probably a way more illegals.
What does that mean, highly insulated?
If you have any Chinese always stick to themselves. You never notice they're very insulated. They're a very insulated community. You don't really know much about Chinese culture unless you hang out with them.
I think that's one aspect of it, and you might be entirely correct with that.
Mm-hmm.
But I believe they're trying to clean up like different cities. So they're targeting like places that are rigged with crimes and criminals.
Well, they're targeting sanctuary
like
cities.
That. Like if you notice the Chinese population, they're not like in jail. They're not like statistically out there, so they're not a threat
Because they insulate themselves. But trust me, like I grew up with a lot of Chinese dudes. They do as much dirt as any other regular American does, but they're so insulated you don't know. Like you don't know what the hell they do. Everybody thinks they just go to work and go home. They gamble. They do the most gambling. They do the most drugs. They drink. They do everything that we do.
Right. But
I never witnessed that, but
I think we also got on. I think we also got to
My father grew up
understand.
in Chinatown. We grew up around like my father grew up like. I have an uncle. His name is Wing Lee. He's not really my uncle, but his name Wing Lee.
What's his name?
Chino. Wing Lee. Chino from Chinatown. Guessing all kinds of shit. You know what I'm saying? I call him my uncle because he's been around ever since I was a little kid.
That Wei Wang.
Huh? Exactly. Wai Wang. Look, why we don't know what Wai Wang and Simon do outside of work.
I'm out here thinking about some fictitious name, and this guy going in right now.
Huh?
I was saying though, like, what are they looking for? They looking for like illegal immigrants? Is that what it's about?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're focusing on a certain group. I mean, there's a lot of illegal immigrants that come here and they are trying to achieve the American dream, which is basically work, save their money, build a family, buy a home, build a business.
We also have a lot of visitors out here too.
We have a lot of visitors.
All
And then we
over.
have a lot of people that come like,
All
look,
over the world.
look, I'm half Venezuelan. Like all those Venezuelans, they ship back good, ship their ass back because they weren't here being productive. It's it's basically the same thing what happened in 1980.
Yeah, but you don't want to just broad stroke everybody though.
Nah,
like
fuck that.
Overgeneralization.
Nah, I'm half Venezuelan. I can say that. Ship their ass back. Go back to Caracas. Trenda Aragua, what a fucking gang there was. Go back. You're not here being productive.
I'm saying though. I mean, we could all.
And I'm half Venezuelan. I can say that.
I don't think you know what I mean, the right to say that is that contingent on what you are, but I feel like we don't want to overgeneralize because I'm pretty certain.
No, we have to. It's the American way. We overgeneralize.
Absolutely great Venezuelans here.
Huh?
Being extremely
Yeah,
productive.
my mother being one, but she,
Right.
but she went through the. But you have to go through the vetting process.
Case in point, what if she didn't have the opportunity to?
Well, then
situate herself?
I guess she's getting shipped back to Margarita then and go be a fisherman with the rest of my family over there.
some of the judges on their side, because Trump ordered that same evacuation, and the judge said, no, this not. Turn that plane around. The funniest thing is that Trump ignored that command.
Yeah, as he should.
So the judge now pissed off. He's
Yeah.
like, wait a minute. You ignoring my command? I told you to turn that plane. No.
Who's the
I
highest
should've.
position in the land?
But that's one of his boys.
The president of the
United States.
of America.
No,
Yeah, but
he
no matter-
still has to follow the law. Even that
Let me
bullshit
tell you something.
where they're
Let me tell you
immune-
something. Long live the king.
That is why we have a constitutional right.
Exactly.
We have our constitutional rights.
Okay,
You
constitutional
don't
rights.
get to override that at all.
Constitutional rights is only for U.S. citizens. Those were not U.S. citizens.
That is
It says-
absolutely not true.
Yes, it is. Look it up in the
How-
Constitution. Constitutional
if-
rights are for U.S. citizens and naturalized citizens.
I dare to challenge you on that one.
All
Respectfully.
right. When I see you at work tomorrow, bring the Constitution with me.
If you're
The heat is on.
if you're in the country, no matter what, you're still entitled to
No, you're not.
process.
No, you're not. No, you're not. No, you're not. You got to read the
But you
Constitution
didn't,
again.
so the question is, you didn't go through no process coming here. You just happened.
You had
and
to.
the-
Exactly.
You have to.
You didn't have. Look, when these guys come to the border, they didn't go through no
They
process.
didn't go through no
I
process.
mean, if they came into the country illegally,
yeah,
Yeah, but that's
That's
what we
what I'm
refer.
that's what I'm talking about. I'm
He's
not
not
talking about
referring-
like a citizen or
He's
a
not
naturalized
referring to
citizen.
someone who went through the process and went to
Yeah, because you went through the
US
whole
embassy,
vetting process.
got a visa. It's a visa, right? A visa, and came here on a plane. Are
yeah.
you-
At the end of the day, they're still human beings.
I mean, we're not.
You have to
disputing
give that human-
They are human beings, but they don't belong in
So
this
the
country.
The Constitution has those establishment that we still have to treat them in.
I'm bringing the Constitution with me tomorrow, and I'm gonna highlight the areas where it shows it only applies to U.S. citizens and natural citizens. Everybody else, get on like you've been spit on.
Angel is saying that regardless of the illegality here,
Correct.
you still have to apply principle and process how you evacuate these people or evict these people.
Oh yeah, because now you're
Absolutely.
violating certain, because then you got the declaration, the Declaration of Human Rights. So I can understand from that.
Right, just like you can't
from
just
that
toss
point.
somebody into jail because they're here illegally. You still got to go through the judicial
You
system.
can. I mean,
You
they
don't throw 'em in
here
jail.
illegally.
You don't
still
throw
have
them in
to- you
jail.
have to give
You don't throw them in jail. You contain them.
That's
Yeah,
against the law. I
you
mean, to
contain
being
them. You
here.
still have to give them that due process. You got to take them.
Yeah, but look, they
What?
can avoid all that if they just go back to their country.
What do you mean?
They can avoid. See, they're getting that. That's happening here because they are not national. They are not naturalized. They are not nationals of this country. You understand? So to avoid all that, they can just get sent back to their country.
Would they be considered a visitor though? Because in order to be a visitor, you have to get permission to visit.
They're not. They're considered
Right.
illegal aliens.
But you didn't go through the process of getting like a visitor.
There are
essentially.
visitors who are illegal.
That's
Illegal aliens. That's illegal.
That's different though. You got permission. You got a visa, which is a permission
That's different.
to visit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's different.
They just came here with a toothbrush, some flip flops, and a pair of swimming shorts.
They come through the tunnels and through
Exactly.
whatever
I probably should be
stories and
laughing
shit.
right now.
They
Because I came here as a visitor.
Yeah.
But you went through the process, right?
Right.
Yeah, he went through the process. Same thing as my mother. Look, it took my mother literally. It took my mom's. My mother came here when she was 6. She didn't get naturalized till she was 22.
That's a long
My
time.
mother went through the process. And the only reason she did, when she went back to Venezuela when she finished college, she went back to Venezuela with her friend to visit. And that's what it is. They told us, like, wait a minute, your visa expired because she had like a student visa or whatever.
Oh, she did.
And then my mother had to go through the whole process. But what it is, by then she was already raised in the United States. She passed that test very easily. She knew who the first president was. She knows, all that. So she was able to
I'm
get.
really
she was
happy
become a
to hear.
naturalized citizen.
I'm really. You just kind of made my point. I'm really happy to hear those history, those trajectory. 'Cause
Yeah.
that's.
But mind you, this is also
and
this is 1974.
Yeah, but that's also what has you here. What has you here right now?
Yeah.
You wouldn't have been here had they.
And that's fine. I would have been running some Venezuelan gang in the middle of Venezuela. Okay. Murdering and extorting cocaine drug lords.
I'm waiting for you to.
Bro, I'm gonna be a gangster everywhere I go. It doesn't matter whether I'm here, Belgium.
I'm
You know what I'm saying?
I'm waiting for you to express a little.
If I was in Jamaica, I'd be running Tivoli Gardens right now. I'll be right at top 10. I'll be the best cricket player you ever seen in your life.
They coming for you, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
Angel, I mean,
It was different then, though, Angel, because it was easy to buy a
Yeah, it was a lot more
a
lax.
citizenship.
Yeah, it was a lot more lax back then.
It was way different.
They were amnesty too.
Yeah, you did have amnesty. You're right. You're absolutely right.
They had a lot of green card. Now they have all the extra security measures and all that. You
Yeah.
can tell whether something authentic or not. Back
Yeah.
in the day.
It was a little more lax in the 70s. It wasn't, but you have to remember, in the 70s, you didn't have necessarily an influx of people coming in. Like, I want to say there was like in the 70s, there wasn't a big migration. I want to say, when was it? Maybe in the 20s and 30s, you had a huge migration of the Italians and Irish, but they all came through Ellis Island.
through
So
what?
they came through Ellis Island.
Right.
Ellis Island is right next to Liberty Island,
Right.
Sexual Liberty.
This is Statue of Liberty.
So, but what it is, they were vetted like that. This was the process. That's why there were some Italianos that the name that they came here with is not the same name that they came into the States with.
Yeah, absolutely.
It might have been to where they didn't
got
understand what they were saying. Their
they got
last
an
name might have been
American
Maginello, and they were from the island of Sortino. They're like, we're just going to call you Sortino. But, they still went through a vetting process and everything like that.
Absolutely.
I'm like, even if you think of it, what year? Actually, if you really think of it, I've noticed historically. Let me ask you guys something. With immigration in the United States, they don't really bother Jamaicans like that because Jamaicans been around since the 1900s. They've been coming to the States forever.
yeah. But
So was there ever? Let me ask you guys something. Was there ever like a time in the United States to where they were like targeting Jamaicans, or that was never really the issue?
I think they only do that because Jamaican usually have a high crime rate within the culture.
Okay.
Here in the U.S. So I think
Yeah.
that's the area where they usually target. But on the general aspect of it, I don't recall of hearing any history of they were just target overall.
Yeah, you never really hear that, would you? Because remember, Jamaica's been around for a long time. Like you
Well,
want to go
Same
back.
other cultures have been around for a long time. Or what do you reference?
Nah, if you think of it, when Italians started coming here, Italians started coming here, early 1900s? The Irish was here already first. The Irish probably came before the Italians. Puerto Ricans didn't start coming here till like the 40s and 50s. Dominicans didn't start coming here till like the 50s and 60s.
Well, you saying the Jamaicans are coming way before that?
Yeah, I want to say Jamaicans probably been coming since the 20s, probably. If you really think of it.
It's something I gotta look up.
Yeah.
Right, absolutely.
Because even think of it back in the days when what movie was that? One of the biggest gangsters in Harlem wasn't the lady. She was Jamaican. And this was mind you in the 20s.
They had a documentary on her
Yeah.
too. Yo, you look at this lady.
She was
Mike.
Jamaican from Harlem. She was like
real?
one of the
Never
biggest
believed that.
number runners.
Yo, she was one of the biggest drug lords.
Remember the
that
Malcolm
lived
X
here
movie?
and a Jamaican.
Remember the Malcolm X
Yes,
movie? Remember
yes.
when Malcolm X was first coming up when he was a criminal?
Yo, that was crazy.
Delroy Lindo played Archie. Archie was a Jamaican gangster. And mind you, this is in the 30s and 40s. So I want to say Jamaica's been in the
come and think
States.
about it, no.
This is why they don't really mess with Jamaica.
I know that's what exactly.
See that? yes. So we're talking about just now immigration.
Immigration, yeah.
So
So
we're gonna talk about Doge.
those how they're dismantling education.
Well,
My favorite
that's not-
department, the Department
I
of
think it's
Indoctrination.
Doge is not the one who's doing that.
Of course, they're the one. They're part of it. I mean, they're not the full structure of dismantling it, but they are part of it. I mean, they're like
no.
the steering wheel.
No.
What, the Department of Indoctrination that they finally got rid of?
Department of Education.
The Department of Indoctrination was saying the same thing.
So Doge is like an auditing group, They just like audit these businesses, but they don't like get rid of anything.
Yeah, they audit
president
federal.
is doing
Okay,
it.
so
They don't get rid of
explain
anything. All
to
they
me
do is-
when
No,
Elon,
they report to the president, and the president makes the decision.
to slash jobs.
Right.
So, how you define this when Elon sent out these email a few weeks ago, a month and change now, or probably a month, and he said, if you don't tell me what you have done last week, consider yourself fired.
Yeah.
So you're saying that Trump was already initiate this in the back end to him so he can make that statement.
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't there, so I don't
That's
know
what I'm
exactly
saying.
what took place.
Yeah.
But right, the Department of Doge, right? They're all volunteers, No one is getting paid.
Yeah, they're not getting paid.
So Elon ain't getting paid. The
Why
19-year-olds
would
ain't
he get it?
getting
He's a
paid.
billionaire.
No, but no one that's a part of that department is
They're
getting
getting paid.
They're not
It's
getting
all
paid.
they're all
They
volunteers.
are rich criminals already. So
They're
why
not.
they need-
What do you
No,
mean they're
got
rich criminals?
Kids working
Of
for
course,
those two.
yeah. That's why I said rich criminals.
They're not
because
rich
some of those-
criminals.
dude.
They're,
You know that
they're 19-year-old
there's
kids.
two, and one of them actually, if I'm not mistaken, are two of them.
Mm-hmm.
One of them are convicted based on leaking government your privacy and my privacy, and he's still there walking on the street and getting hired inside the government industry.
What you mean your privacy and mine? I have no privacy.
Shit, forget.
No, you have none. You
but
use
it-
social
it-
media.
I mean,
You
is
use
it-
social media.
what?
You use social media.
And where did you
I
get
mean,
that
it's
point
just my
from?
business up there. I don't really have a personal.
That
thing
sounds
up
like
there.
something
Hey,
you heard on CNN.
But isn't it
That little tidbit of information you just get.
Privacy.
That sounds like something very CNN-ish.
Some of these-
Justin, isn't it concerning that they're not getting paid?
No,
Nah.
I mean
because they're
it's-
probably getting
like
taken care of on the
charity
back
work.
end.
You know- you
Yeah,
know-
Elon's probably paying
you
them.
never did anything you never got compensated for. Like, have you ever done charity work before?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
What I'm saying though, if I were doing a job,
Yeah.
how careful would I be if I'm not getting a salary?
No, but
I
there's
mean-
something on the back end for
No,
these
they
young-
getting something. They
Yeah,
definitely-
there's
I
something
mean,
on the
fact
back end
that
for them.
Elon is even involved.
It
They
might
get
not
his
be
life-
monetary.
Internship.
It might not. Yeah, exactly. It might not be
And
monetary,
you have
but
internship with pay. You know
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
yeah,
So-
you got
so-
paid
Right, 'cause-
internships.
But check this out, Mike.
Like that whole nonsense that Elon's making $8 million a day. No, he's not. They kill me with that. When they're saying that him doing that he's making $8 million a day. No, he's not.
Nonsense.
It is.
It's free.
I can't even
It's
follow
free.
that.
What was I gonna say last?
What, Department of Government Efficiency? That basically they're just an auditing group.
No, Michael Bloomberg.
Oh, Michael
Okay.
Bloomberg?
Yeah, the former
For-
Yeah, former mayor of New
mayor
York.
of New York, right?
Yeah.
He was getting He was
was
receiving what?
collecting
Like a
$1.
$1?
He was collecting $1
For
because
his
he was already a
paycheck?
billionaire.
He did
Yeah,
that
but
purposely.
you gotta
for tax
understand, our
purposes.
current
Yes,
president doesn't
exactly.
even.
You know, he
take the
bankrolled his
money.
own campaign.
You know, our current president is being a president for free. He doesn't get paid for that.
Yeah.
No, there's no.
He gave up
They
his
get-
salary.
There's actually a
he's the one
salary,
who
but
refused to get.
yeah,
paid.
what's his name? Trump doesn't take a
It's
salary.
about 350,000 a year.
The salary is 400,000 a year,
For-
Right.
and then when they
$400,000.
retire, it's 166,000 for the rest of their life.
But
Well, cost of
Apparently-
living adjustments, you know, it could be more right now, but
but
Trump takes $1. I think Trump takes $1 a year. He does not
taking a
pull.
dollar,
He does
that
not pull a
greedy
salary.
Rich taking $1. That
What do you mean?
surprised me.
He takes
I have
$1.
I have some respect for our president.
Exactly. Long live the king.
That
Yeah.
greedy rich surprised me.
Yes, so the Department of what? Of Education. They're
Department
trying to
of
get rid of it.
Indoctrination.
Or
They're trying to get rid
they're
of it,
getting rid
but-
of it.
No, they dismantled it.
How they doing it? The way they dismantle it first, they have to follow that route based on the judge order. But eventually, it's gonna happen. But I'm trying to figure out when you dismantle this. Do they understand what the Department of Education is? Right? It's not. I mean, I can understand if they get rid of some waste.
On a
Because
federal
there's some-
level. On a
there's some
federal
waste-
level.
There's some
They want to
waste-
give it to the state.
And that's how it should be. I think the
but
state should run the
it's-
Department of Education accordingly.
it's already with the state. Like a lot of local
Not
government,
really.
a lot of local government oversee their own education
Yes, but it's
funding.
Exactly.
whatever the feds say they have to do.
Exactly.
So
It's
if
governed by the feds.
And it shouldn't
For
be governed by the
example,
feds.
So if the feds say, right, we
Department of Education is governed
By the feds.
right by the feds.
let your kids know, right? They would tell the Department of Education on the federal level would say, yo, inform kids that if their parents discipline them, they could get locked up.
Yeah.
That's coming from
Up top.
And that's
Yeah,
government
right.
interference. Nobody should be telling nobody how to raise their kid. Because ain't nobody, let me tell you something. I'm old school. I whip my kid's ass. Ain't nobody going to tell me I can't whip my kid's ass.
They coming.
Huh? Ain't nobody going to tell me I'll whip their ass too.
TSA.
I'm going to tell you the same. I'll tell them the same thing my
CPS
man.
is coming.
Huh?
as a
I'm going
lady.
to tell you the same thing. When I found out about CPS when I was 14 years old, my father said, hey, call them. I'll whip your ass and their ass. So, and I know what my father's a very valuable lesson. Stay out of my business. These are my children.
now we grew up the same way in Jamaica, you know.
Yeah,
Exactly.
People would look at it as
It's
a
abuse.
child abuse.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we were disciplined for every and anything.
But keep in mind too. I mean, I used to say like my mother or my grandmother, she couldn't live here for a lick. She would be spending 20 to 25 to life or something.
Easy.
So, but at the same time, is some people they don't know how to balance out discipline in physicalities, such as beating or stuff.
Well,
like
yeah, I mean, then it becomes
that. I mean, and
abusive.
some
It becomes
Jamaicans I
abusiveness.
see, man. I mean,
You're in timeout.
Now what?
That's here. Jimmy, if you throw your son out, your brother off the roof again, you're not gonna get the Game Boy
Yeah, no, I
anymore.
don't think so.
No, you're gonna sit down and
No candy.
Right, no
Yeah, that's some nonsense. Nah, you get your teeth smacked out your mouth.
I used to, when I was going to school, like elementary school, I would go to my principal's office. You have a paddle.
He will paddle.
Like
Yeah,
I was going over there. My classmates talking about, yo, so what's up? Waiting for you. We call it had a name for it. Understand? Like
With a paddle?
yeah, with a paddle.
What if he had a whip and you get lashings?
I mean, that's
Yeah,
worse than a whip.
You know
I don't know.
what
I would think a whip is worse.
And you get home. If your grandma thought that was inside the factory enough, you get
Yup, and you get another
Right?
beating.
Nah, man.
And that's why I turn you into the upstanding citizen that you are.
I saw my neighbor one time and get whooped with a hose.
I don't think that's the
And
point I
this-
was trying to make. Just
Those, as I said, those are child abuse. I mean, there's
What kind of hose is it?
the hose what we have where we
Okay,
don't
but,
think-
but what makes it abuse? If they just hit him with the rubber part or they hit him with the little metal gold part?
No,
If they hit him with the metal gold part, then that's abuse. But
No,
just the
what
rubber
I'm
part,
saying,
that's fine.
They cut like the the hoses.
Yeah.
they were doing inhumane things.
So they would cut off whatever piece and whether the head off the other side,
Yeah.
of the head, and then cut,
And then beat him with the hose.
and then whoop
Man,
him
you don't
with
know
the
how
hose.
bad that kid is. Maybe he deserved. Maybe a belt don't work no more.
You know how hard a hose, especially if that thing's sitting out there for a while without sun touching it. You know that's like a
I don't think we turn out bad. And we were disciplined as kids growing up. So I think
Exactly.
it worked.
I was a bad little brat, man. 'Cause
I know about Justin. He's King Tax. So
Oh no, I got beat. I got beat so much at 16 more. Says, you know what? I'm not. I can't anymore. That's it. I just, but I'm a different story. I'm the exception.
So yeah, like something like that, right? Telling kids that it's okay if you want to be trans.
Right.
You know, it comes from the
Yeah, from
federal level,
from
right?
non-disciplinary
So
actions.
the
I'm like this.
state have to go with that.
Yeah.
So when they say, okay, let's get rid of the Department of Education at the federal level and give it back to the state,
Yes.
it would be better.
Right, I understand that, but we got. I think we have to also understand. I'm trying to find the acronym diversity, equity, and inclusion.
That's all nonsense.
But that they got.
It's a balance. It creates a
They
balance.
they're getting rid of that.
That's
Good.
and
It only
that-
benefited white women anyway.
And that's what's extremely concerning about it, because the Department of Education, they're the one who make sure that, like, I guess resources are allocated and distributed
No,
fairly.
well, all right.
You
So,
understand
all
me?
right, so
But it wasn't. Do you
I understand what you're saying.
70 to 8% of the Department of Education on federal level was all administrative. These are not teachers. These are not
Right.
educators. They
Right.
were administrators. That is a waste of money.
There you go.
They were overseeing things to make sure every individual
But
is
70,
treated
80%?
fairly.
No, that is waste, fraud, and abuse. Somebody's stealing.
Yeah. If you
Department of Education is to educate.
So
Does that mean
Not
that we are
administer.
just gonna
No.
abolish it? Why?
Well, on a
So
federal
that
level, not a
rule-
state.
and that role is gonna be a part of the Department of Treasury,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So let's say
Oh, you saw that video too.
Yeah, lunch in school, right? It's gonna be from the Department of Agriculture, because they're the one who deals with food stamp.
food stamps,
Exactly.
like that.
So it only makes sense.
Yeah.
So it's not like they're saying, hey, no one is gonna get lunch in school anymore.
Yeah, they're not starving people.
Student loans, they're gonna what? The Department of Treasury.
There was
I
Department
think
of
it's still
Treasury.
Department of Treasury. is
Yeah,
still focused.
like basically student loans, FAFSA, financial aid, that was going to go under Department of Treasury. Like you were saying, school lunches, SNAP
Somewhat
benefits,
like-
that goes under Department of Agriculture.
I guess-
so they're basically just shifting everything around because there
I
really
guess it's
wasn't
smarter spending because you already
Of
have,
course.
There you go.
No,
There you go.
because it was a waste.
you already
like
have
said.
those agencies
Yeah.
doing that stuff. So
But come on, when it's supposed to be the Department of Education and 70 to 80% of it is administrators, we're educators. What are you administering? What's 70, 80% of
I mean, you have
administering?
overseers. I mean, but
I can understand if it was 30, 40%.
It's like
but
a supervisor.
70%?
So like,
Administration, that's ridiculous.
they
That's
even have
somebody
a civil,
stealing.
But
civil
here's the
rights
thing.
division in the Department of Education.
what they exist for? What they
Huh?
do.
Civil rights, I guess.
The
what it
Department
is.
of Indoctrination?
But here's the thing: if
And
they rule,
they want to move that to the Department of Justice. So that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you see, there's no need for it then.
No, there isn't. It was a
if
waste.
they roll it back, so if they roll the thing,
I guess that's why they're using the word dismantle.
Exactly.
They're not
If you
just doing
roll
it
it-
Exactly.
kind of with it.
Dismantle.
if you roll it to, you roll it the govern to the states, right, to control this. So if you look on some of the states right now, probably all, but some where they make their own rules when it comes to these like kids pushing these type of gender rights on these kids. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's not gonna make any difference because these states are already pushing those in. I mean, most of them when they trying to dismantle.
We really don't agree with that. Most of these states don't agree with
No, we don't.
that. No.
But I mean, it was morely coming from the local states. All these gender rights
no.
and gender pushing.
Coming
was-
from
Well, no,
You're
it
saying
was
it was
actually
coming
pushed
from the
by
federal
federal.
level?
Yeah, it was pushed at a federal level, and basically they were basically strong arming them,
This is how it
to
works,
implement
right?
this ideology.
This is how it works. So you have a gas station, you have a gas station, you have a gas station. I supply you guys with gas. I tell you how much you could sell gas for. If you decide to sell it for more, I'm cutting off your supply. Get it? So
I
that's
get it.
how the Department of Education work
Yeah.
on a federal level. Like Trump would say, hey, if you don't do this, I'm not.
Yeah, I'm cutting
You're
off
not
your
getting any
funding.
funds.
Like he told that lady in Maine, he says, "Okay, you better do it, otherwise you're not getting any federal funding."
And
Right,
next
it's like a corporate franchise. What I'm picking up.
there you go.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
And next
You can't
thing-
just sell McDonald's and put your own ingredients in something.
No, it doesn't work that way.
Right. So our next thing is having boys or males in female sports.
Right.
So that came from that department.
What,
also.
education?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was something that was implemented.
Does
to
that
them,
make sense to you?
which was nonsense.
Yeah, I never.
So if I identify myself as a girl, right, as a female, I can compete in a female sport.
Yeah, and that's just nonsense.
Nah, it should have.
No, it
I
doesn't.
don't want to be too opinionated, but
No, be very opinionated when it comes to
Shouldn't
something like that.
no, I mean, would you like your kid? You go to school. He's a boy or he's a girl, and your kid go to school, and then next thing he come home, he's like, "Hey, Dad, you know what? I don't feel to be a boy anymore. I want to be a girl." How would you feel?
very disheartened.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So this is what they're doing in these schools. I
Right.
have witnessed where they have a clip on YouTube where was some school, I think it's in Ohio. I'm not sure exactly if that's the state, but it was somewhere down south. And they have the principal allowed this to happen where they have these guys, male strippers, well-below, whatever case may be, have a pole in some type of auditorium where
Yeah,
these
that's
kids
ridiculous.
are like 5 or 4, whatever
Yeah.
case may be, sitting around in a group circle while these bastards on a pole swinging and stuff like that. I mean, and this
That's
That
grooming.
should happen because people eventually
grooming.
are going to start masking.
crazy.
People are going to start masking themselves. You understand me?
Yeah.
They're going to start pretending to be one way because they have hidden agendas or ulterior motives. Like people are going to try to be a girl to go into the girls' bathroom.
Yeah, I'm like, that's a
understand?
possibility. yeah.
so they because they want to see
But you
see what the
forgot
girl.
where
Yeah, but that's
Right.
sick. That's like that's sexual deviant
That's
behavior.
pervert.
Yeah, that's a
That's-
pervert. Well, even with little kids, you're grooming children. That's that's pedophile behavior.
Right? You don't want to facilitate that. So
Yeah.
absolutely,
And then the fact that they try to gaslight us. Oh, but you're a homophobe. No, I'm not a homophobe. I'm normal.
right.
I'm not a wacko.
100%.
And then they say, oh, you can't. I'll call you whatever I want. My hands and feet work. That's how I work. Violence always overrules everything as far as I'm concerned.
No violence.
No violence. No violence here. No violence.
This guy sort
When
of
they got
I'm
rid
not
of
violent
the
unless you
two
climb me.
gender restroom. You forgot when they removed that. Barack was president, and in New York,
Male and
in
female.
a public space, you cannot have a male bathroom, a restroom, and a female restroom. It says
You understand?
Family bathroom.
it said unisex.
Yeah, it says
I know,
unisex
they
or
had
family
some
bathroom,
drawing
which I
on
think
it
is
where they had
nonsense.
like a tranny and a door and
Yeah, it doesn't
Yeah.
make any sense.
I mean,
I
Listen.
didn't feel comfortable walking into the same bathroom as a female.
No.
And
no,
I'm a
I
guy.
don't. I don't. I will
did.
not do that. I
I
can't
mean, if
do
you're a
that.
pervert, you will feel comfortable off.
Yeah, but those
overall,
are perverts. Those
but
are
I
not
mean,
normal people.
so,
Those
yeah.
are deviants.
But the thing is, I don't have anything against a homosexual. They live their lifestyle. But one of my problems is
I don't think any of us
you're
have a
pushing
problem
your
with
agenda,
any-
your mentality,
Hey, none
your,
of-
Exactly.
your way of
Say to the-
lifestyle.
Look at
on
the
s-
camera and say, none of us.
What?
Speak for all of us.
No, none of us. I mean, you
Yeah.
don't want. I don't think you want to overimpose your beliefs
Someone
onto
else.
others. You understand?
No, I agree with what you're saying 100%.
Right.
You're right.
As I said,
I
I
agree.
don't have any bash against a human being, another human being who is considered an adult and they want to do whatever they want to do with life.
Yeah,
It may
what
be
two
sick.
consented that
Yeah, but at the
Exactly.
same time,
Their spirit time is their business.
that's
Exactly.
their business.
You don't
But
push
at the
your
same
nonsense on
time,
us.
You don't push something of your type of agenda or your type of behaviors or your
And
type of
kids.
lifestyle on someone who is still developing and not even basic understanding of what life is.
Exactly.
You know, and this is the problem what I have. As I said, you know, you're adult, fine. I mean, the kids are 18, 19, and they either peer pressure into it or whatever. They still have a choice to make. But
Yeah.
you have these innocent kids who are still learning because we are still a kid. To my philosophy, a kid hit the record button when they reach understanding of age 3.
Yeah.
It's like a VCR. They hit that record
And
button.
they absorb everything.
At age 8, 9, they hit stop.
Right.
After that point, it's playback time.
Yeah.
So that playback now, whatever they record for that last 7, 8 years, that's the playback. So they seen mommy and daddy or daddy and do whatever the case may be, they're gonna think, oh, this is natural, this is normal, this is what is going on. And then because these generation or these I would say groups know about these things, and that's why they try to prime them from that get-go, because it's hard for someone now to come across. I mean, it's there, but it's hard for someone to come across at an adult age to kind of push that type of agenda on them, because like some people like, no, I'm not gonna deal with this. Yeah. And I mean, it's crazy, but that's just my problem. I don't have the problem with you as a homosexual. No. That's your life. I mean, I don't support the lifestyle, but again, that's you. I live my life at the end of the day, but please don't push it on the innocent kids.
No, absolutely. And children are
I think I'm talking for everybody here, right?
Yeah, 100% right. And kids are very impressionable. They're easy to manipulate. That's why I believe it's extremely
like sponge. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, and I think it's extremely important for us as a parent, as adult, to make sure that I think it's extremely important for us as adult to make sure we mold our children correctly, properly, so that they're able to understand certain things and make certain decisions.
Yeah, but not when they go to school majority of the day and they're being taught something else.
Yeah, I mean, you go into any public school. You go into any public school
that's
here.
Exactly why we have to pay attention to them.
Go inside any public school here in New York City, or even in Westchester County. Look inside a public school, like I want to say kindergarten through 8th grade. Look at all, LGBT, rainbows, diversity, all this alternate stuff inside a school.
School books.
Yeah.
That's teaching you about. It's okay to be.
Yeah.
If you're a boy,
I have two dads.
And all that but nonsense.
You know what I discombobulated about too. So they would push all these things and put in the school, but yet some people may not believe, but yet they would pull in God out of the system.
Exactly.
You can't pray anymore. You can't have no Bible
you don't
discussion.
Find something wrong with that?
But yet they would find these other lifestyles to push. It's crazy.
What do you feel about
It's by
that?
design. No, I'm I was baptized Catholic, but I'm not like a super religious person. But I do see a problem
so
with
when
that.
did you became King Tox?
When I became King Tox, let me see. Let me see, I'm 45.
Like a pool full of liquor.
Let me see, I'm 45. I think I dealt with one white woman in my life. She was the most horrible person, putrid person I've met in my life. So you figure I've been King Tox for about like 25 years now.
So did they have like a pool full of liquor and you dive in?
Huh? Exactly. That's exactly what I did. I just dove right in and just became King Tox.
That's your indoctrination right there.
That was it. About 25 years I've been the king of toxicity.
So you were saying
convert or revert.
No, but as far as that, I think that's a problem. Like as far as, okay, you're pushing this, you're pushing this rainbow agenda. That's what I'm gonna call it. But then what it is a problem because you're taking Bible studies out.
Ain't nothing wrong with the rainbow, The rainbow.
No, there's nothing wrong with the rainbow, but it's crazy when
they adapted the rainbow.
When you're pushing that agenda and then taking another one out. What's the problem with being like I've noticed even like with people that are Christians, devout Christians, things like that, like they're having an issue with them. Why are you having an issue with them? Like that's their religion. These are certain things that they were certain principle, core values that they were raised on. And then now it's almost like they're being demonized for their beliefs. And that's not right because you're demonizing one group for their beliefs, but then you're celebrating this other alternative group, for their sort of, twisted beliefs. Because I do feel that they're twisted beliefs. These aren't normal beliefs. These are deviant beliefs.
If you're going to condemn something, you got to condemn it.
I mean, there's no principle of anything going on here, through the government or local state. There's no principle. As I get an example, you're pushing the LGBTQ to push in the school system, but yet you want to pull out God.
Exactly.
Who on the dollar says, "In God we trust."
Exactly.
So I don't understand the correlation or the conflict of what you have in there. I mean, it's a oxymoron. I would say it's a paradox. When it comes to these things, because I can't still comprehend the logical state of mind, how they're trying to incorporate these. I mean, one thing they have favored and put up their hand, and then the other thing they're like, you know what, which
And it's deliberate.
beneficial to the individuals, kids, adults, whatever the case may be. But yet,
So how do you? I don't want to segue at all, but I don't want to digress. But how do we change that?
change? I don't think there's any change.
I don't
to
think
that.
there's a way to change it. I think what it is that people have to be more hands-on with their children. You do not let outside influence your children. Okay, when your kids turn 18 years old, then they can go explore the world. Obviously, when kids become sexually curious, when they're 12, 13 years old. So from the age, normal stuff. I'm saying from the age of 0 to because then then that's promiscuity. That's a whole nother. But from the age of when they're born to 13 years old, a child should be a child. Okay, by the time they hit 11, 12 years old, they're gonna start becoming curious about the opposite sex or maybe even the same sex, and that's okay because they're already at that age. But as far as to pull that back to when they're 4 or 5 years old, like you said, they're like they're sponges. They absorb everything. Mm-hmm. You are completely confusing them when you do that. And the reason why you're doing that is you're grooming them. You're grooming them. What they said, I forget, there was a study, right, that I think it's like a good 60 to 70% of people that are homosexual, same sex, they were molested by somebody when they were younger, which basically turned into them growing up, them liking the same sex, whether that changing their sex, things like that. But that means because something traumatic happened to them when they were 5, 6 years old, where they were sexually molested. It was a study. It was a study of that.
We protect our children.
Yes, of course, you have to protect your children. They're your kids.
Observe them a lot.
I'm like, I don't have any kids because trust me, God don't want me having no kids because my kids will be complete psychos. But best believe I'm not letting no outside influence. The only influence they're gonna have is King Tox's influence.
So the question now is that today I was filling out my passport application. So what they're gonna do now? They have to probably, because Trump, even though I don't like his ways.
Correction, King Trump.
King Trump.
Thank you.
King Trump.
Long live the king.
However, I'm wondering now, because now we acknowledge that there's only two sex.
Exactly.
Right? So legally now, how they gonna? I mean, is there gonna be a lot of work and financial restructuring? Why I said financial restructuring, because all those legal documentation which you have to print. Like today, I was filling out my passport form. Mm-hmm. You have male, female, X, and others.
Yeah, no, that's
hell?
Yeah, that's getting thrown out the window.
So then that's going to require some serious financing.
No, not really.
To really produce, because you're gonna have to go now and
replace your documents.
Replace those and there's a lot of documents they have out there. I mean, from the corporate level to the governmental level. I mean, there's a lot of documents.
You pretty much got to replace your whole identity.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a lot of spending to reverse this. And then I'm almost, I wouldn't say certain, but on a high scale, I'm thinking now the next president, let's say down a Democrat coming, what they're going to do? Reverse.
They're going to undo everything that he did.
Right.
But the way the Democrats have been embarrassing themselves, they're not going to take office probably for another 30 years.
Nah, I'm thinking they're coming in next again.
No, they're not. They've completely embarrassed themselves.
No, you want that.
They've completely embarrassed
I don't know.
themselves.
Why do you want that?
I don't say that.
Come on, Jasmine Crockett just referred to one of the governors as Hot Wheels, and he's in a wheelchair. And then she tries to backpedal her way to him. Oh, I didn't mean it because of his condition. Who you think you're talking to?
Listen, from the Democrat to the Republican, they say bullshit towards each other. Some of them, they don't have no heart.
I mean, she's on a next level.
She's an idiot.
Man. She's
worse than AOC.
And AOC, I like AOC.
I don't like AOC neither. She's not from the Bronx, bro. She's from Yorktown.
Right?
Huh?
Wait,
no, she's not. Don't you dare insult Candace that way. Candace is brilliant. AOC is a bartender, okay?
No.
I'm talking about
AOC is
intellectual.
Not even.
I mean, see, we agree to this.
AOC is a glorified bottle girl.
A bottle girl?
Yeah. Not even from the Bronx. She's from Yorktown. She think I don't. I know you from Yorktown, AOC. You ain't from the Bronx.
I thought she was from the Bronx.
I'm from the Bronx. I was born in the Bronx. You're from Yorktown.
King
Tox, baby. Don't you understand? Candace is somebody I would take out on a date. I would court.
Who, like Candace Owen?
Yes. Yeah, Candace is somebody I would take out on a date. I would court. AOC is somebody I bring in the back seat on my Jeep. Let's swing an episode.
What about Jasmine?
LL Cool Tox.
What about Jasmine?
He said LL Cool Tox.
Nah, Jasmine getting thrown on the strip. I'm like, yo, go change your fucking wig. Meet me on Hunts Point.
No,
I probably should be
she's
laughing right
something
now.
else though. I've been paying attention to her.
Oh,
She's
Jasmine?
something. Yo, she says whatever.
She's
Does
ridiculous.
whatever.
I'm beginning to think she's
She's
a plant, bro.
unpredictable. That's the
I'm beginning to
problem.
think she's a plant.
Have to be.
Yeah,
And I
because
don't
she's
like
just
it
like she's
because-
a caricature. You know what I'm
know?
saying? Like it's a, she's a bad representation. Let's put it
You know
that
what I'm
way.
saying?
Really bad.
Yeah.
No, what you were saying?
She's just like
no,
us.
I dislike it because she's a black woman too. Ain't
Yeah.
nobody else operate the way she operates.
Yeah,
You're
it's
supposed to-
embarrassing.
you're all in like a high seat in government.
Yeah.
Right?
But they all do. I mean, they
No,
do
but
these
that
foolishness.
behavior is
Yo, you have worse than
disgusting,
that. He's
man.
kind of calmed down. Look at Jordan. He
Who?
calmed down.
Who?
No,
Who?
Jordan.
ooh,
Jordan?
Jordan, that's in the Republican. The same one I talked to, we were talking about where, again, a little bit clarification too. Remember, we were talking about conviction and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
he was accused that he was a coach, assistant coach, and there was some molestation going on within the school. According to the report, he knew about it, but he didn't say nothing. So he's like, he's condoling this stuff.
according to the report, allegedly.
Allegedly, according to the report. I had already make a statement and put it up on the same clip to make sure they get some clarification, because I did also mention that he was convicted of certain things and so forth, but it never go through. So,
You don't know Jasmine Crockett. That's you don't.
but I'm
Yeah.
saying, as I
can't
said
compare
before,
it to
bringing
no
back
one else.
That woman
Jordan
she has no
calming
decorum.
down.
Like it's embarrassing. She has no decorum whatsoever. And mind you, her background, she's saying like she's for the people and she's sister girl. She ain't from the hood.
and she
Bro, she
acts
went to a
that way.
$35,000 a year country day school. and then went to a college that costs $100,000 a year to go to. But then you want to sit here and act like you for the people. Man, get the fuck out of here, man.
I mean,
You ain't for the
It's
people.
not all of one says they're for the people or for the people, and it's coming from the Democrat to the Republican. It's not, or from even the what they call it, the
Stop playing politics, man.
No, I'm not. I'm just saying. But I'm not biased. I speak.
King Trump is for the people.
You say you're not biased.
Well, I'm not.
King Trump is
I
for the
speak-
people.
When on the show or any show, when you see me being biased,
so far, you agree with everything that is a King Trump. You agree with everything that
No,
this,
it's not
this
everything.
current. What do
it's
you
not
disagree
everything,
with?
as I said.
Tell me what you disagree with.
I disagree
Name
with
5 things you disagree with.
the tariffs, the
Talk in
elimination
the
of
mic.
the
Why do you
tariffs.
disagree with the tariff?
Why
Explain.
disagree with the
Because
tariffs?
you're creating war against nation. Like for instance, you have a problem, all right? They have a problem with specifically Canada, right, and Mexico.
Canada and
right?
Mexico.
They're dragging China. They're dragging also they're bringing South Korea. They're bringing in what's the name, Venezuela. They're bringing in what's the other country, that Caribbean island now, where they're even looking to attack Jamaica. Where have you been? Sometimes I think this guy's
No, I'm listening to you. Explain. I'm listening to you.
So those are like 4 or 5 so far, right? And matter of fact, eliminate Canada and Mexico. So those are like 3, 4.
Yeah, because they already folded.
So why are you starting these issue with these other countries or islands?
So
when they
what
have-
issue are they starting with Jamaica?
No, I'm saying that the possibility that gonna come up today. They didn't initialize it yet.
Right,
but they are thinking about to going for what? Up to now, I'm trying to figure out, why are you planning, if that even exists or that come up, why are you planning to attack Jamaica on a turf level? Why? I don't see any point or logic or anything whatsoever. Just like these other countries.
You said they're planning on doing
No,
it.
they're entertaining the thought. For what, I don't know.
What did they say about Jamaica?
They're talking about they may apply some tariff towards Jamaica, but I'm saying what Jamaica is producing. I mean, they're
There
producing.
you go. What do we really?
Yeah, of course they make a few little things there. I mean,
Like what? Like what?
food, agriculture wise. But
Yeah.
at the same time, the main thing what Jamaica was producing, and it's kind of faded out now, is the backside, the red dirt, what we used to sell for a penny a ton, which they almost dig out the entire.
I mean, it's not owned by Jamaica. Who cares?
what?
It's not owned by the government. It's
What?
not- The bauxite.
Why is it not owned by the government? Who you think was selling it?
It's a private owned.
Who you think was selling
Hold on,
it?
it's a private owned company.
Maybe now.
Been forever, forever.
That was one of the things that Jamaica fall down on, and where the culture economy.
Listen, you're not
almost
Jamaican like
collapsed in
I'm
itself
Jamaican,
because
you
of
know.
the same thing. We have some rich soil.
Yeah.
within Jamaica. Right?
Yeah.
And other Caribbean countries.
That was their main export.
You're right. That was one of the main core export that keeps Jamaica floating. I mean, when
Yeah.
it comes to financial survival, that was one of the things. These jackass, I don't know what manipulation.
But was that owned by the government or was that owned by the
It wasn't owned by the
Chinese?
government because it
You
was
sure that
the
wasn't owned by the
government.
Chinese?
No. How the government, the Chinese going to be owning dirt?
Chinese are the
that's
biggest merchant.
in an
They're the
island?
biggest merchants in the West
So
Indies.
you're telling me that mean if they're going to buy out the dirt and because majority
Well, sure
of
it wasn't owned by the British?
I mean, it was controlled by the British. I mean, if we were under the British, that's why we gained our independence.
Yeah, I
Just
know.
like
That was
our-
1959.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, my thing is, it's owned and it's managed. I wouldn't say owned, but it's managed by the government.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Because I mean, it's God dirt. Put it
Yeah,
that
yeah,
way.
yeah.
So it's managed by the government. But the fact that they were selling this, because I would put they were ignorant.
A penny a ton. That's
A
cheap.
penny a
That's
ton.
cheap.
Exactly.
And that's really good soil.
And those are some serious good soil. I mean, you get some of those soils up here, man. You forget about going to the supermarket because that thing is going to produce some. It's rich.
Yeah.
And this is what they were literally giving away.
Organic rich.
Correct.
Yeah. The minerals
But-
is crazy.
You ask a question, I give you a directive. So, what is your debunking? Because you know that there's a debunking coming.
All right, so you're saying that they consider raising the tariff on bauxite?
Right.
That's
Put
being
Jamaica out the picture. I'll give you
So give
few
me a
countries.
country. Give me a country.
Mexico and just
Alright, so-
I think
so
just
where
this week,
Mexico is concerned-
just this week they're imposing they actually impose a 25% tariff on Mexico and Canada.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
understand? that?
So where Canada is
But what kind of tariffs have Canada's been charging us for years? 245% tariff on eggs?
They weren't charging anything because the
Yes, they
tariff was
were.
free.
No, it was
It
not.
was free trading. What are you
Yeah,
talking
it was
about?
It was
free-
not.
It's a free
It
trade
was
agreement
not.
between
It was supposed to
It
be a
was
free
all three
free
countries.
Yeah,
trade.
and they were charging us
Where
245%
you get
tariff
that
on
from?
eggs. What do you mean? I'll pull up the list.
45%.
On eggs.
How
Okay,
they
another
gonna charge you when it's
180%
free
tariff. They've been doing that for years. It's not free. No, it's free tariffs on
Okay,
our end.
so-
So basically, they were treating the United States like we're an ATM. So basically, we have to do a free trade agreement to where we're giving them. We're not charging them, but they're still charging us. And the justification is, oh well, America's a lot more richer because we're the richest country in the world. So basically, everybody wants to tax the shit out of us, but we can't tax them back because that's not fair.
I don't get that news. But here's the thing:
Yeah.
your same administration, which you defend and what he likes, you have your boy, your King Top boy, right? Your King
Trump?
He was in there.
Long live the king.
He was in there 2016.
Yes, he
didn't
was.
See all of this. He ran for 4 years, and he didn't see all of this. All of a sudden, now he come back, and now he see all of this.
He learned from his mistakes.
What mistakes?
He had the wrong
there was
people
no
around.
mistakes to learn from.
He had the wrong people around him in his first.
wrong
In his,
people?
what do
He
you mean?
always had wrong
His
people
own
around
his own VP stabbed him in his back. Pence.
How he stabbed in the back? Because
What do you
Pence
mean, when he
is standing
threw him
for
under the bus?
principles and on the morals.
Pence is a weirdo. Don't do that. Stand for principles.
he-
He refers to his wife as mother. Any guy that refers to his wife as mother is a weirdo.
He's what?
He refers to his own wife. You know what he calls his wife, Pence?
What he call-
Oh, mother, are we going out to? He's sick.
But I hear that in the street all the time. Yo, mom.
No,
And
that's
sick.
ma. Not mother. Mother is weird.
How is
Mother
weird?
is weird. That
It's
means that he
another
has that
word
little. That means that he has that little scary Victorian doll somewhere in the dark corner in his bedroom that looks like.
Sounds a little incestuous.
Exactly. It sounds very incestuous.
Right.
Mother.
Little
I'll never call
upsetting.
my wife mother. I call my mother ma. I call my wife ma. Yo, ma,
But
what's
it's the
up?
same concept.
No, it's not.
How
No,
it's
it's
not?
not. No, because you're saying though.
You just acronym
because
it,
because
the word.
you're taking
That's
the
what
full
you're doing.
effort just to say mother. That's just creepy.
You know what?
All right, so as I was saying, right?
What's up, ma?
So where Mexico is concerned, where Mexico is concerned, they're trying to get rid of this this drug problem, right? Because most, if not all, of the drugs come through the Mexican and border
Yeah.
and the Canadian border.
Yeah. Fentanyl.
So that's one of the reasons they're doing that. That's his reason. Do you think that's a good reason to raise the tariff fee? And the next thing, like if let's say China, we pose a 10% tariff fee on China, they'll say, you know what, they have a free trade agreement going on with Mexico. I'll go talk to the president of Mexico and I'll give him 1% and I'll just import whatever merchandise through Mexico and avoid that 10% fee. So
Okay,
they've been doing that. That's facts.
Yeah, that's how they've been
okay, so
circumventing
they've
that.
been doing that, right? But again, all these administration from Obama, from Bush, from Trump, from Biden, from who else? After?
They've been
Clinton,
pushing
Reagan.
a different agenda. You see what I'm saying?
It was still in place. So what?
What, the free trade agreement?
Yes, it was still in
Yes,
place.
yes.
NAFTA,
but-
North American Free
but-
Trade Agreement.
But they wasn't paying attention to that. They were paying attention to something else.
What?
Having the boys being girls and girls being boys and all type of nonsense.
That just started emphasizing recently.
That's all Obama did.
Well, why do you
For
think
the-
it was
for the two
emphasizing
terms.
recently? That was
That
the
was just
distraction.
emphasized
That was the
recently. I'm talking
distraction.
about-
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Really, I mean, yeah, it could be a distraction, but at the same time, that was really emphasized.
Remember now,
So this place,
America is a business, you know. We have a businessman running the country now.
which is a bad deal, but again,
Why?
you guys
How is it a
gotta
bad deal?
learn.
So I just gave you a reason as to why they imposed that importation fee or that trade fee on Mexico.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned it
China.
before several times where, okay, because the U.S. has
So
free
you don't
trades-
think that's a good enough reason?
No, because they were surviving before they try to do
Who
this.
was surviving?
The entire U.S. and Mexico with their free trading.
Yeah,
and
but
Canada.
we're still losing though.
Yeah,
How
when,
you were losing?
because we're not making any money. We're
They were-
broke.
I mean, you doing free trading with this country, right?
But they
This
weren't
island.
doing free trading.
Why
We
they
were
weren't?
free trading with them,
Yeah.
but they were still charging us a tariff to us.
He doesn't get it. Mike, all right, so let me
We
break it
had a
down in
free
layman
trade agreement
terms,
with
right?
them.
So check this
basically
out,
we're
right?
I'm
charging-
saying, okay, so the U.S. is that dumb, right? To put up a structure where I'm giving you something free, and then you come
Charging
back
me, exactly.
charging me. I mean, that's
Yeah.
stupidity if that was
Yeah,
the
but
case.
you
There
know
you
why?
go.
Because
But
There you
again,
go.
but that wasn't the case, right?
What do you mean it wasn't the
How
case?
it was the case?
That was
I mean,
exactly the
you
case.
telling me all this brilliant minds sitting in the White House, sitting in Congress, in the Pentagon, and allow this to slip under their radar?
Because the powers, no, they knew it was happening. The powers that be hate us. Don't you understand? Our government, the people that run us, they hate us. They don't care about us. They
I know
hate
they don't.
us.
They don't have no.
Well, that's what I mean. They hate us. So when they hate us, of course, because they know it's not going to affect
The
them.
senator
their
from New
pockets
York,
are
what's
lined
her
up.
name? What's her name?
Oakland.
Ogle. Yeah, Kathy Ogle.
Mm.
Right? So this thing that they have in Manhattan now, the toll. What is
Oh
it?
yeah, what do you call it? Congestion
price,
zone.
which I want Trump to get rid of. That I will jump on his
No,
back for.
right? So why would she
And he's
do
working
that?
very diligently to get
Why
out.
would she do that?
They are criminals.
To a set of people. So there you go. You answered your own
Exactly.
question.
Well, now they're criminals on a federal level too. They're,
They're
they're criminals on a,
criminals. I mean, as I said, there are some things where I go to Trump. I say, you know
So
what?
do you still disagree with the tariff fee?
I mean, as I said, to a certain extent, yes. But at the same time, my thing, this is what my problem is. Okay, let's say you're doing this with Mexico and Canada. Why are you going to start an issue with another country, another allied, where you have balance, equality with?
It's
with
not balanced.
But it
It's-
wasn't.
It's not balanced.
Don't you understand? America's been getting robbed for years. For years. We've been getting robbed and people, and somebody's actually finally stepping up.
So,
Nah,
again-
you're not robbing us no more.
if I come to your house
Like Mikey said, business
and
minded people.
and I somehow get into your house with a key or so forth, isn't it possible that somebody give me that key?
Of course.
Okay, so again, how I'm
It's
gonna be
possible.
it's possible
It's
that somebody
possible,
give me
right.
the key. Again, I could probably find the key, make a copy, but I would have to have knowledge that I know that this belongs to your house.
What if it's
Yeah.
an electronic key?
that can be hacked?
All right.
But in the contents of this, it's not electronic key. We literally give out the key.
Yeah.
Yes, because we're trying to do good business, you know?
But again, so at what point in time you realize, and I mean, this is going on for decades.
Yeah.
Decades.
Yeah.
So at what point in time you have brilliant minds sit in the White House?
The free
You have-
trade agreement wasn't a long time ago, you know?
Nah, North American Free Trade Agreement came into fruition, I want to say in like the late 80s, early 90s.
No, this is early in the late 70s into the
North American Free Trade. So
Yes,
who's the one that
early-
spearheaded that? That was Gerald Ford? No, was it NAFTA? It might have been late 70s, early 80s. I don't think that
Yes,
was
it-
Reagan. So who was before Reagan? Before Reagan was Jimmy Carter. Before Jimmy Carter was Gerald Ford, I think. So it might have been around that time. But it hasn't been around that long. But what it is initially, they were doing that because they wanted to be fair. But then 50 years later, yeah,
1994.
Look at that.
94?
1994.
Told
yeah.
you in the 90s. North America. Because I remember learning about that in 8th grade, the North American Free Trade Agreement.
1992,
NAFTA.
1994.
Yeah.
So
Remember,
change-
Department of
some cha-
Education wasn't made
some
till
changes are coming.
1979.
You know, it's going to drive up the prices of
No, it's not.
It's not.
It's not.
big. If you're going to impose tariff, who you think going to absorb those extra costs?
See, that's where they got you at. That's the fear mongering. It does not affect
Now,
us.
it's reality.
No,
Say,
let me
all
tell you,
right.
the tariff is a negotiation tactic. Do you have any idea how many, ever since he started imposing those tariffs, do you have any idea how many major corporations all of a sudden now they decided, oh, we're going to go build a factory in the
Right.
United States?
Right.
If that's-
gonna
It's a
invest.
negotiation
If that's
tactic.
getting its word. But if you think
Some
about
people are telling me, oh, well, you know, the price of avocados is going to go up. Then don't fucking buy avocados.
Don't
If
buy
it-
it.
if
Then
it-
see what happens.
Exactly.
Because
Then don't buy
the
avocados.
shelf life on avocados are really short, you know that, right? Can they afford to lose that?
not even a little bit. No.
All right.
Look, we are the biggest
But
consumers
look
in
at
the
something
world.
like automobile for example. If you impose a $25
25% tariff.
you got to understand that
He said
On
he's
average,
not,
say-
he
say
said he's
ten-
not, he's not gonna
say-
add a tariff fee on cars. So yeah,
no,
Yeah.
they just did that.
Yeah.
I think this week with
Right.
Mexico
Why?
and Canada.
Because it was a negotiation tactic. You saw when he started doing that. What started happening in the next couple of weeks after that? Now all of a sudden, all these companies. Look, a big furniture
Started
company
visiting.
in Canada. A big furniture company in Canada. Just opened up a big, or they're opening up a huge warehouse. I think in Missouri or Kansas.
you know why?
To
'Cause the
circumvent paying the
consumers are
tariffs.
here.
The consumers are
They're
here.
not in Canada.
You got to
So
remember.
Canada is losing.
Right, it's
Exactly.
going to definitely bring business to the
Look.
United States.
Look, let's put it this way: the stuff that the United
those
States.
imports,
Yeah.
those
Look, the stuff that the United States buys from Canada.
tariffs are gonna
Look.
be transferred.
The
down
stuff
to
that the United States
consumers.
buys from Canada, that accounts for 19% of their GDP. The stuff that the United States buys from Mexico, that accounts for 37% of their GDP. Okay, the stuff that Mexico buys from United States, you know how much that accounts for of our GDP? 5%.
Baby.
Do you have it? No, 5%. The stuff that we buy from Canada, you know what that accounts for of our GDP, or they buy from us? 3%. We are the biggest
I think it's
consumer in
pretty
the
negligible,
world.
you know, it's-
We are the biggest consumer, and don't let nobody tell you otherwise. Oh, you know, you're not. No, we still spend the most money in this world than any other country.
90% of what they export.
Okay, everything. It doesn't matter
We
what it is, whether it's
consume in
legal,
the US.
drugs, everything, even with
Yeah,
drugs.
we waste more money than anybody else in the
Exactly, we do.
world. Yeah.
Big spend. Hey, big spender.
big chips. I'm talking
Exactly,
big
big chips.
right now.
Don't you
Big shit,
understand?
big scars, yeah.
Big chips.
Well, gentlemen, it was a good topic.
Definitely.
We gonna continue on this next week. We have some more things coming out, rules and regulation they are putting in place, and one of the things they're focusing on is to try to, I guess, how to put it. They are trying to minimize the government to the point of where if you need 4 people in this department, then they would have 3. I don't know. I mean, you can't, because now, as Mike or yourself or myself, or the case may be, now we're gonna have to be doing double work,
That's fine.
right? But I'm saying at least keep a balance.
Yeah.
If it's require 4, I could
Do
see.
you work for the government?
No, I mean, but eventually it may.
Okay, don't worry about
But
it.
it's not the point of don't worry about it, because if they do that in the government, now the corporation may see that, oh, you know what? Government is doing that.
No, I
Maybe
mean,
could
listen,
try that.
private corporation does it all the time.
Yeah, they do it all the
All the
time. That's
time. What are you
those
talking
are called.
about?
That's why they
Yeah,
have
I mean,
efficiency experts.
Yeah, you're right about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do it all the
Right,
time.
but
So to be honest, the government is the last corporation to do this. To basically what they're doing, that's an
But they're
efficiency
doing it
expert.
sneaking.
But if you
see,
if,
this
if,
is
if,
openly
if
now.
you're serving a critical function, then a lot of extra thought has to go into that.
Yeah, but that's only if it's a critical function. A critical function is basically the exception. That's not the norm.
I think you're just gonna put more burden on the mind force in itself. I mean,
What do you mean,
Most
burden?
of
How?
these people don't even want to come to work, Mike.
Exactly.
and this is what
went
they
Nah,
try.
but look. For example, I don't really want to get political with anything at all. But
It's
This
a
is
political
all we talk about is politics, sir.
It's a political
I don't want to
channel.
get. I don't want to get extreme
Or
with
you
it.
don't want to get too deep.
Right.
Look, all I need you to tell, all I need you to say is that Trump is king. That's all I need you to say.
I respect
Don't.
that.
Trump is king.
Don't.
Nah, look,
If you want to survive, don't.
but look at all the airplane. You know what I mean? Like accidents that's been going on.
If you notice, that went away. That only happened for about a month, so I felt like that was orchestrated.
No, that's been taking place before Trump took
Of
office.
course.
It was kind of it was really concerning because, I mean, yes, I agree it been taking place, but it was fishy just how randomly and
No, that's before.
and what the other word I'm looking for, well,
It was a little too convenient. It was a little
just
too convenient, right?
convenient, and
Exactly.
it was just happening back to
Yeah,
back.
it sounded kind of orchestrated to me
Something
by the
was-
left,
yeah.
but it sounded kind of orchestrated to me.
When
This
did-
guy, this conspiracy.
so when did Boeing CEO step down? You remember that?
Isn't it 2003?
Okay, there you go. Why did he step down?
I have no idea. I didn't.
All right, so this been taking place. Even the stock went from an all-time high, almost $400 to almost $100.
Wow.
It's trading at like what, 150 now, between 150 and 135, something like that.
What company is this?
Boeing.
Oh, Boeing. Yeah.
Boeing makes
Yeah.
the airline.
Well, you got to remember though, a lot of that had to do also with the accidents, and on top of that, I think at one point in time, remember Boeing had a lot of DoD contracts.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Department of Defense, things like that. But then I
who
think
else make planes? Just
Sikorsky's. Well, Sikorsky's is known.
Airbus and
Sikorsky's
Boeing,
is known
but
for making most of, like, you know, the most. They're the ones that have the lion's share.
Boeing
of
is a
DoD
big
contract.
dog, though.
Well, Boeing is also a big dog, and
Yeah.
they had lost a lot of big
So
Department
all
of Defense
these
contracts.
we were falling off planes, and all these planes were, falling out the sky way
Door
before.
plugs and all that.
Yeah.
Door plugs and all
There you go.
What was it? That was 22 years ago.
When he stepped down in 23, I mean, it was pressured because, I mean, yes, these guys were that's why this guy came out, same way in 23 when he stepped down and blow whistle on them because they were shortcutting.
There you go. And what happened to the whistleblower?
He probably I think he's 6 feet down somewhere.
Yeah. he accidentally drove off a cliff or something like that.
No, he got
His brakes no work no more.
two of them too.
Huh?
Two of
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
All right.
So,
So,
Well,
good conversation.
It's been a vibe. It's been a vibe. It's been a vibe.
yeah, it was a
Appreciate
good conversation. We'll continue this next week, but we thank you for joining us again at Mike and Mike Show. Please like, share, and subscribe, and just invite a friend, share them the link. Link them on our main channel where we have it on Saturdays, live streaming too. This is pre-recorded, but we have our main show that live streaming on every Saturday at 9:00, so you can tune in for that too. And we have other shows, entertainment there for you too. So it's a good forum where you can join and possibly won't leave. You'll be entertained. But thank you for supporting us, and may you continue to supporting us. Spread it, share the word. And before I go, guys, I want to ask you your last, I would say, final thoughts on what we discussed today. Starting with
Okay, so
Justin.
starting with me, my final thoughts. Well,
Trump is king.
my final thoughts. Yes, exactly. Trump is king. Trump is king. Thank God. I shouldn't say thank God. Thank King Trump
Thank you, Joe.
for dismantling the Department of Indoctrination. Hopefully, they can find the error in their ways, and also, I think with the new revamping of the Department of Education, you really need to implement civics into the education syllabus. Right. That's my decision. Oh, and I still don't trust Elon. I love what he's doing, but he's up to something. I just don't know.
At least.
I love what he's doing though, and I don't.
But
I
you
don't
still
appreciate
don't trust
people. I don't appreciate people damaging, vandalizing cars. I told Angel yesterday I want to buy a Tesla with a MAGA sticker because I'm waiting for somebody to touch my car.
Good luck with that, Angel. Your final thought?
I think just live, survive, exist with an open mind. Understand that, whatever you're going through, it's just a a process. You going through it. You're not staying in it. So just stay up with it.
Yeah. Mike.
Yeah, I agree with Angel. As I said, I think the new administration is doing a wonderful job. Let's just enjoy the ride, you know. Let's see what the outcome is gonna be.
Yeah. Well, my final thought is, I mean,
and don't listen to Michael Porter.
the
Just fearmonger.
I'm just watching for now.
He
and
keeps it a buck, though. He keeps it a buck, yo.
yeah, for real. I'm just watching for now. I don't really support 100% what the administration doing, but they do. However, they are doing some things what I like and I
Supports
agree.
98%, not 100%, 98%.
Where you get 98% from? Now you're giving me some numbers, but I don't know about.
The 2% is you dislike the president. That's it.
That's it.
But everything else you like.
See, whoa! Don't put these numbers on me. Whoa!
We're gonna do brilliant, bigly,
Great.
Big numbers.
Big.
Big numbers. Huge. Huge. The greatest numbers ever.
Thanks, guys, for tuning in and join us next week again. Same time, same place. I'm Mike. We out.
Later.